Welcome back to Unfiltered Unspoken. And today we're going to share another phenomenal story. We have Marquita Marles on today, Unfiltered Unspoken, as a guest. We're going to start from the childhood traumas and we're going to go into the adulthood traumas, and she has a lot to share. So I'm going to bring up Marquita to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marquita. I'm from Virginia, um, where I lived most of my life. I gave birth to 6 kids, but I have 5 living children. Um, I come from a childhood full of trauma. I was raised by my aunt. Um, I've also come from substance abuse, a family full of a whole bunch of substance abuse. I've been clean for 3 months and I'm sorry, 3 months and 3 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Definitely. So let's start at the beginning. So you said, you were with your aunt. What kind of caused you to have to live with your aunt rather than your parents? What was, like life like at home as a child?
So it was me and my brother, who is 2 years younger than me. First it was just me, him and my mom, him and my dad and my mom. They were never married. They just dated for some short time. They broke up a little bit shortly after my mom had my brother. My mom was a heroin addict. She used other drugs as well, including alcohol. It got to the point where her drug addiction got real bad, to where she chose the drug addiction over me and my brother when I was 5. And we ended up moving with my dad. However, he had got into some trouble when I was in first grade. We were living with him and my stepmother. And then we ended up moving with my aunt, who became our foster mom, which it's my dad's baby sister. So we were just back and forth at her house. I lived with her up until from 7 years old till I was 9. Um, and then it was just back and forth between my aunt and my dad, and then through over the years, until I was about 13. Then that's when I moved back with my mom.
Okay. So going from back and forth as a child, I know that could be a lot of stress on you. Can you tell us some of the trials and tribulations you went through from that time frame going back and forth from your aunt to your dad's?
Oh yeah. So when I was living with my aunt, we were dealing with a lot of verbal abuse. My brother was dealing with a lot of physical abuse. Um, with my aunt, she's more of like verbal abusive, all about the money, making fun of people with mental health. But when I was younger, I really didn't understand. There was times that we would have our fun times with her. Um, but there was also times where I was just a little lost and confused, not knowing what's going on. Why my mom doesn't have me and my brother? Why isn't my dad around? Because my dad, every time he got in trouble, he would go to jail. He was an alcoholic, so he was always getting into trouble, and he was a heroin addict too. But I didn't find out that he was using until I was 9. Going back and forth was really hard because it was kind of confusing for me and my brother. We just thought that nobody wanted us, and um, we really didn't want to be at my aunt's house, because there was a bunch of us in there. It was my cousins who were her grandchildren, who she was taking care of. Um, they would treat me and my brother like trash, basically. Like my brother used to pee in the bed, and she used to sometimes take his nose and take his face, rub his nose into the bed. Yeah, and there was times I was being touched by my cousins, my dad's brother's sons, um, by both of his brother's kids when they were living there. There was times that I was afraid to say anything about it, because my aunt she was very disrespectful out the mouth. If you tell her any of that, she would not believe you. Um, there was a time when I watched my aunt's friend's daughter have sex with my cousin and my brother. And I think she was 16 or 17 at the time, and my brother, he was like 11. And no, he wasn't. I was 11, he was 9. And then my other cousins, who was around the same age as my brother, she was fast. Um, there was a time when I think I was about 12. I was in 6th grade. My aunt, and this was the time when my dad was locked up for a long period of time. Um, my aunt, she sent me and my brother and one of my other cousins over to our neighbor's house who lives directly across from us while she went to go to play bingo. And she ended up not coming to get us till late. So I fell asleep and I woke up and the guy was touching me in my private area. And I didn't tell anybody because I was scared. So eventually one day when my cousin's mom, I was talking with her and we were having our girly conversation when she was getting me prepared for when I start my period. And I just came out and told her what the guy did. And she got really upset. And she went back and told my aunt. And my aunt started calling me hoes. And mind you, I'm just 12 years old. You know, I didn't know nothing about sex. I didn't know anything. I wasn't worried about none of that, you know, but I was hanging around with boys because that's all I knew. That's all I really had was male cousins, you know. Um, but yeah, it was really hard because my aunt was at the time, she kept telling us that my mom didn't want to see us, and we kept thinking she was keeping us away from my mom. My mom, after a while, when she got herself together, she was trying to be back a part of our life, but my aunt was keeping us away from her. Um, so yeah, so that's what I had to deal with a lot. It was really hard because I was alone. Um, I was always wanting to fight, you know. I was just mad at everybody, you know, and that's when it started. I took my first drink when I was living with my aunt. They used to smoke weed in the bedroom. We knew there was something going on because we could smell it, but we just didn't know what it was. We always thought that it was okay with what they were doing, you know. And whenever they weren't looking, we would get the liquor and we would drink. Me and my cousins. My aunt would hide all the snacks from us, like the oatmeal pies, cinnamon swirl, little cake things. Like she had everything from us. It was up to the point where we had nothing in the refrigerator. Like all the money that she was getting from me and my cousins, she would spend it on playing numbers. She wouldn't take us shopping. She wouldn't do anything with the money that had to do with us. It was just a lot, you know, that we ate. You know, there was always parties that she had, but we never really got to do anything fun for real, you know, unless we go outside play with our friends. We never really, the only time we got new outfits was on Easter. When Christmas comes around, she was real petty. She never bought us anything with none of the money that my dad gave me and my brother. Um, she was just real petty. Like when my dad got hit by a car, he won a lawsuit. We didn't get any of that money when she was supposed to give it to us, and she didn't. But we moved with my mom when she got herself clean, and when I was 13 years old. I was just so happy to be away from my aunt. You know, I love her to death, but you know, I never forget those days. You know, when I was living with her, because you know, it was just a lot, you know.
And how was it? How did things change, if any? Once you guys were able to go with your mom.
So when we moved with my mother, uh, like we were excited about it, but you know, I was holding a lot of resentment towards her because from what my aunt told me and my brother, that my mom didn't want to see us. There was times we would go to my mom's house, like on the weekends, um, even before she got clean, and I would always think that my mom hated me and my brother. So every time it was like a petty fight, I would throw that in her face. And at the time, I didn't know when she was going to meetings when she was in recovery. I always thought she was doing other things. You know, my mom worked hard to take care of me and my brother. When we moved with her, she was working at a toy store. She spoiled us. She took us to her meetings with her. We always like had family dinners. Like she did everything she can to make up for it all, but I just still wasn't feeling it. I felt neglected still because I never knew like why she kept going to these meetings and why these meetings were so important to where she had to spend a lot of time without me and my brother because she had to go to those meetings, and so there was some times where, my resentments would come out and I would cuss at her, fight her, you know, uh, when we moved to Reston, when I was 14, I would run away from home. Um, I would tell her I hate her. She had called the police on me a couple times, got me put away in juvenile detention center. Um, I would hang around with people that I should have never hung around with. There was a time that I ran away from home and I lied and said I was abducted, but I really wasn't. But and I had to do 4 months in jail because of that. I hated my mom, um, but she tried her hardest, like to make up for everything that what me and my brother went through. We had a relationship to where I would tell her, what was going on, and no matter she tried to convince me and my brother that she was not the one that wasn't trying to see us. She was being ignored whenever she would reach out. But I didn't understand that because I was so young.
Hmm. So, did you ever tell your mother about the things that happened to you at your aunt's house? Did she believe you? Did she take any
Hmm.
actions?
She couldn't stand my aunt. She never liked my aunt at all. I mean, she dealt with her because she's being cordial with her. To this day, she I'm not sure exactly what happened between them, but my mom just knows my aunt's energy. But it was only so much that she can do at the time because she was so strung out on drugs. Um, but she was just happy that the times that we kept going back and forth from my dad to my aunt, from my dad to my aunt, she was just happy that we were out of that house. She couldn't stand my dad's wife, and she couldn't stand my aunt, and she still can't stand my aunt. But she'll be in the same facility as her if it's like an occasion or something for me and my brother. She can't stand her at all because of the way she treated us, and she kept telling us I was not ignoring y'all. I always called to reach out. She would stop, and I believe her, and I'll tell you later on why.
So, at what point did I guess the substance abuse step in? Was this around the time you were living with your mom, or what came of the turbulent relationship of you and your mom?
You mean like with the substance abuse for me or her?
For you.
Okay, so it started out with me smoking weed. Um, and that was my drug of choice. With the drinking, um, very rare. Uh, weed was my thing. It started, me and my brother would steal my mom's cigarettes. She'll hide cartons of cigarettes in the closet. When I moved to Reston, that's when I first started smoking. Uh, then that would be my drug of choice for years I turned until 2000. I'm gonna say 2004. 2004. That's when I first tried ecstasy. That's when I first tried PCP, and I tried they call it lean. Um, the concert they put inside the Sprite, and That was after I had my first child when I was 19, in 2002, Brandon. Um, and I wasn't doing anything but smoking weed then before I had got pregnant with him. I had went to job court when I met his dad there, and I was living with my mom at the time. We had a really good relationship, me and my mother. As I got older, I ran away for a little while when I was 17. Then I came back home when I got pregnant with my oldest child, and she was really there for me. Um, but it didn't get worse until my son turned. He was almost 2, and I started hanging around with people once me and my son's dad broke up. I started hanging around with people that were doing other things. Um, Once I started smoking PCP, that became like a occasional drug for me. Um, it wasn't all the time. So for a while, I wasn't doing anything. I was just drinking alcohol, and my PCP started full time for me in 2010, and then I stopped again. Um, Let me rewind right quick. So I had my second child in 2005, with the father who I first started smoking PCP with. That was a domestic violence relationship. I ended up getting out of that. That one I would say is the worst relationship I ever had because he pulled guns out on me. He's threatened to kill me. He has beat me. There was times that I pulled a gun out on him. I caught 3 charges because of him. When he took my daughter, my drug addiction got worse then because I would cope with it, um, just to get my mind off of things. And there was really nothing that I can do. So I got put on probation, and then I got pregnant again. And with that child, I had her. So at the point, it was just me and her and my oldest son. Um, Now, my oldest daughter got taken from me. That me and her father got joint custody, but he ended up getting the physical. And then I got pregnant again, and on March 26, 2010, I lost that baby at birth, and which is on my birthday. And a couple months down the road, that's when my drug addiction got real heavy because of that. And my life was just, so unmanageable. Like everything was just falling down. I was keeping it a secret for a very long time. I wasn't telling nobody nothing. Only certain people in my life that wasn't my friends knew exactly what was going on. Nobody who was my real good friends knew. I was keeping it away from a lot of people who weren't doing the drug. I didn't tell anybody. Everybody just thought I drank. Um, it was just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff that I wouldn't share with anybody. Um, and then, it was a lot of relationships that I was in, chasing guys, the wrong guys. And then I had 2 more kids. And yeah.
So, what are some of the challenges that the drug took you through? Some of the trials and tribulations?
Oh my goodness. I've crashed 2 cars. Um, there was times where people would call CPS on me several times, and I would lie. There was times that with my youngest 2, and it's embarrassing to say this, but I, just got to be honest because I'm able to face that today and not beat myself up about it. But there was times that I would go get my drug and go home after I picked the kids up. I would go home and put them to bed, and then I would either lock myself in the bathroom or I would go downstairs and I would get high, and then go back upstairs, not caring about where the next high can take me. And that drug, and I knew that that drug was so serious to the point where I could end up doing something to my kids. And at that point, I wasn't thinking about that. I just wanted to get high. And I've done that on several occasions, you know, and there was times that I'll stop and I'll get help with it, but I just couldn't stop because I was going through so much. And my last episode, when I got high, I crashed my car. My friend's dad was at my house and he told me not to leave out. And I did anyway. And I left him and one of my friends in the house with my kids. And he said, "Why don't you just let him come here and give it to you?" And I said, "No, I just need to go for a ride." You know, he said, "Well, don't smoke it. Wait till you get back here to smoke it. Do not drive and smoke." And I went to go pick it up. Somebody rode with me and I smoked it anyway. And I crashed my car. And that's the car that I had to take me and my kids wherever we had to go. And if I had to go to work, if I wanted to take my kids somewhere, if I wanted to take them to daycare, just anything with my car, I crashed my car. I only had my car 3 months and I crashed it. And I got locked up for 8 hours. At that time, that night, the police charged me with drinking and driving. Not drinking it. They charged me with a DUI for being intoxicated while driving, which was for the drug. Also caught a substance abuse, possession of substance, um, because the drug was in my system. So they charged me with that. They charged me with that because that's just the way how Arlington is. Even if it wasn't like physically in my car, they just charged me with possession because it was in my system, and they found it in my bloodstream. So I sat in the jail for 8 hours, and then I left out, and I came home. My power was out because I didn't even pay my bill. You know, I had to go stay at somebody's house with my kids for a week and a half until I was able to get my bill paid. And using like I was more focused on making sure that my drug addiction was taken care of before other things. Um, I just, I had the help. You know, I had friends. I had friends that wasn't supportive. I had everything I needed, but I didn't know how to ask, and I didn't want to ask. I didn't want everybody in my business. Even though there was people, the people that was in my business was the wrong people. And I didn't know that until today. I found that out recently. I just had the wrong people in my corner. And so the more and more and more that people were making fun of me, the worse that my drug addiction got. And then when I was on probation for the recent charges, I kept getting high. I broke out and told my probation officer, in the month of March is like the worst month for me because when I lost my baby on my birthday, for the past around that time, 10 years, I would get high like the whole month or I would drink my night away, because I just kept thinking about that, and I just wanted to be alone. And I told her, hey, I got high last night, so you don't have to take my urine. And she tried to get me to go to Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and she gave me a sheet, and I never went. I just did what I had to do, At the time I was in a shelter. This was in 2019. And because I stopped for a minute, like a good year and a half when I first was on probation. But then I started back up when I seen somebody else had it. And I did it 8 more times on probation. And then she just said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to violate you. She gave me chance after chance after chance. And she violated me and the judge locked me up January 10, 2020. And I was in there for like 3 weeks. And that's when I entered drug court, and here I am today.
And I just want to interject because in this part of your story is kind of where I come in. So y'all don't know, but I do know Marquita personally. And we met at work. We were working at Uno Chicago Pizzeria together. And like I would never forget, like just I knew we was going to be cool. She just walked in with like, and again, y'all probably think I'm a horrible person, a horrible friend, because I don't be knowing this about people. But as she said, like I feel like they know that like it's not my thing, so they try to keep it away from me. But so like I promise I wasn't a horrible person. It's just she didn't share that part of her life with me all of the time that we didn't spend together. But um, I came. This was probably like 2 years after the incident, maybe a year and a half. It was very fresh. She came in with high heels, a fresh wrap, cheetah print, and I mean to a interview at a restaurant. So everybody else talking all crazy, and I'm just like whatever. But once she got hired, like we became very 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 cool. Like from that point on, I'd have probably worked like 3 more jobs with her, and it was like wherever I got a job, I made sure she got a job. We didn't work with my mother. We didn't work with my brother's boyfriends, cause everything. Like we family at one time, and I had really had no idea, that was going on because she wouldn't even smoke weed. Like every time I try to pass her to Jay, she'd just be like, nah. So like I honestly did outside of drinking, I honestly didn't think that anything was going on. She didn't, let me know that. But the traumas, I knew a little bit. She told me a little bit. I met her mother. She definitely gave me the rundown about that. Little friends that weren't great for her and people that I met, in turn. But I really had no idea, a lot of that was going on. I didn't know the extent of the background story. So it's almost like I don't want to say it's amazing, that you're here in the way that are and able, you know what I'm saying, got your life all turned around. But it's just kind of it was crazy to think that all of this was going down, and like we literally spent years knowing each other, and that was never part of the conversation, never. So it's really good to see you, you know what I'm saying, doing well and being able to like admit that, and especially going through it for so long, because even with close people, like we did not, and I mean from work, we went out together, we were at each other's houses. I came to the after the birth of her last child, like we was really, really, really close. So
And
a
the
lot
fact
of
that she hid it like that, like
right.
to hide it and you never recognized it, that must be a strong, very strong trait of yours. It's really challenging to hide a drug addiction. So
hmm And maybe it's just maybe I ain't noticed. I'm just dumb and don't notice signs too, because maybe it's something you should have noticed. But like to be honest, I as far as the high and what happens after PCP, I'm not too familiar with that. I know things can go way out of bounds, and I know things can be chill, but I'm not super familiar with those symptoms. So like to me, you was just your super rowdy, like always on oneself, like always ready to fight. That's it. But it was normal, but like it wasn't too much where I'm just like, yo, she's really tripping, she's crazy. It was almost just like kind of part of your personality. Like we know Marquita don't play. Marquita got hands. Marquita attitude is not she is not. It's not the one, not the two. Like that's just what it was. But I you was holding it well. I say that you might have been going crazy insane by yourself, but you definitely was holding it well.
mhm.
Unless I was just super dumb and oblivious, but yeah,
No,
Will you be minding your business, Sid?
I
So,
I do
she
I
do.
do. It'd be like unless you tell
Mind
me something, I don't.
yeah.
Yeah, she do mind because like even my best friend Christy, she didn't know either, and I didn't tell her until like January 2020. She had no idea. A lot of people, the only people that knew were the people that live out here with me, and it's only because the mouths, the gossiping and all of that. And even though I was a real stingy one when it came to my drug, and nobody really I never really let a lot of people smoke with me. I always, just smoke for myself. But there was a lot going on that you're right that I kept inside, and I held a lot of other people's hurt and, if other people want to put, like their head on my shoulder because they wanted to vent. You know, I had my own personal issues that I was dealing with, but I was hiding it inside, and I just got tired of, holding it in. There was even people that like I didn't even know that I was smoking around. I've smoked a lot of people when I was high, got done crazy stuff inside their cars. There's stuff that was like really embarrassing, and some of the stuff I don't remember. There's even been two times when I had sex with a guy that I didn't even. If I was like not, if I was like right now, not drunk, not high, no nothing, I wouldn't even touch a finger on this dude at all. He might even watch this video. Like, he knows that, but I never mentioned anything to him after that. It's just the point. Like some people, some guys would take advantage of me when I was high because they know that that's my most vulnerable stage, and I'll end up having sex with them. And if I wasn't high or drunk, well, high basically, because if I'm drunk, I know exactly what's going on. But if I'm to the point where I'm really high, I wouldn't know what I was actually doing, or I wasn't strong enough physically to say, hey, no, or push them off of me, and people knew that I was vulnerable
And
at
they
the
could,
time. I was going through a lot, and to even to the point where I was, being weak. I would let people talk trash, and I don't do nothing about it, and they really don't know me. Whether it's the good side or the bad side, they really don't know me. All they know me as this boathead girl or this dipping head girl, all the names that they called me, but they don't know Marquita.
hmm
Um, and it took me these past 3 years to realize that I can't hold a lot of stuff in. You know, uh, like me and my mom, 2019 around Christmas time, I cut her completely off. I cussed my mom out so bad, and we recently just rekindled our relationship last year because I told her, I only got one mom, despite what you did and what you put me through. That was your addiction. That wasn't you. And now I realized that because I used to hate her because I hated all the people of Narcotics Anonymous. I hated them all. Like, why are you guys taking my mom away from me? We've already been taken from her. And it took for me to realize, once me being in recovery, it took for me to realize that is the reason why, because we have to put ourselves first. The beginning when I first got clean, like the first couple of months, I had to sit with myself in the house by myself and not isolate, but like get my thoughts together and realize when my boyfriend was locked up for a couple of months, um, that I come first, and I need to get myself together, my recovery, so I can have a better relationship with my kids, and so I can be a good mother, and that's when my dad and my mom became real proud of me because I confronted my mom and I told her how I felt. Um, and I said, never mind any of the stuff in the past. Never mind what I did in the past. It's not about that. Let's just start a brand new relationship today. Because at the end of the day, you're my only mother. I'm not gonna have another mother without once you leave this earth. I'm not gonna have another mother. I'm not gonna have another father. You know, So I was just done with everything, and I realized that the that I used took control over me.
hmm
And I cut a lot of people off that actually believed in me because for people that didn't believe in me.
Good, good. So, how have you ever confronted your abusers? Have you ever um put them out there? Like, are people aware now that even through I can imagine how all of this led up to the drug addiction and everything from childhood into adulthood. Um,
My daughter's dad does not care what he put me through. I got grand larceny. I got damage of property. I got breaking and entering because of him. There's only one thing out of all three of those charges that I committed, and that was messing up his car. And I've talked to him on several occasions about my daughter, and um, he never even told me, like, he's never apologized to me, no nothing. I've confronted him on several occasions. Like, I texted him a couple of months ago about my daughter, and he just doesn't. He even gave up on my child. He doesn't care. So I'm just, leaving him where he is. He still accuses me of getting high. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm glad you think that, but okay.
With no room to judge, so
no room to judge at all. No room to judge at all, and and I mean, it is what it is. He can be where he's at. And I like when I went to my son's graduation. Um, Me and his father get along very well. I mean, we don't talk like every single day, but I met his fiance for the first time. It was a really good time. Now, no, Davion's father, me and him used to clickety clack all the time, like fist fight, argue all the time, and me and him are the best of friends.
That's I was gonna say that's where I came in at. I watched that relationship blossom because she met him at work.
Me and him are the best of friends. We put all differences to the side. He's proud of me, and I'm proud of him. Like, we both been through a lot when after my son was born. Whether if he caught his little charges and I caught my little charges, and me and him, we talk all the time, And I appreciate him because he's taking care of my son, and we co-parent. We understand each other. He doesn't judge me. I can call him and tell him, whatever. Even if I have a boyfriend, they're cool. And yeah, our relationship is real good. I just cut a lot of people off. Even if I see people, like, I just ran into somebody today that used to talk trash about me and make it funny, put a bad name about me on Facebook. And when I was using, and she looked, said, "Hey, Marquita," and I said, "Hey," and kept it moving. I'm not gonna hold a grudge against anybody who treated me badly, whether it was physically or mentally, hurt my feelings. I can't let that dictate my life today. It is what it is. I'm not holding grudges anymore. I'm not holding anything inside. Letting a lot of stuff build up.
That's good. That's real good. Now, at what point? I know you said 2019 was kind of was sparked the recovery, and was that just in regards to being violated by your parole, or was there something kind of internal? Excuse me, probation, but or was there something because baby, that's something different. But was there something like internal that was just like I gotta change. I gotta stop this. Because you very well could have kept going after you got out of jail. So what made you feel like this is the final straw and get you into your drug school and your graduation? What was the step leading up to that?
So when the judge locked me up, so I went to court for my probation violation. The last time I actually took a hit of PCP was January 6th, 2020. So I didn't touch anything. I went to court on January 10th, 2020, and I'm never going to forget this. The judge said, "We need to have you take a urine because that's going to make me realize what my decision will be here." And my lawyer was not present. So they did my urine, and she said that I was positive. I was intoxicated in the courthouse. So we argued back and forth. She put my butt in jail. And I was in there for 3 weeks. They offered me drug court. I took it. I didn't want to do it because it's like being in jail, but you're on the street. So at the point, I just said, I'll go ahead and do it. But when I'm done with drug court, I'm just going to get in, get out, go back to drinking, go back to doing me. Like, these people can't tell me what to do. And that program is real intense. The first 2 months, I, just went and got my paper signed. I sat in the meeting the entire time so the secretary can sign it, and then I turned it in the drug court. Um, I just wasn't there. Like, I'd go in a meeting, I didn't really care. I didn't want to be there. I knew some of the people that was there in real life, and I knew what type of lifestyle they was living outside of those meetings. you know. So I'm like, I'm not about to sit here with these fake people, like they out here selling pills and all of that. Like, why am I about to sit in this meeting if I'm not learning nothing, And but it took for me for the pandemic to happen because I started calling this phone line meeting and hearing other people in different cities and different states, starting with Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, New York, and North Carolina, and all of that. And then they started having these Zoom meetings. It took for me to be on there to realize that it's serious. The drug addiction is real. And it took for me to sit my butt down and start praying and start talking to God like, wow, and listening to other people talk and share their life experience before, during, and there's a lot of things that happened during the pandemic to me, and plenty of times I could have picked up. I could smell it outside my window, and I've had drug dreams, and but I realized that that's not who I am. I can't constantly be beating myself up like, hey, I still got my same place I had since 2019 before I got clean. Um, like let me get myself together. And it took for me to realize, like, darn, all these people dying off fentanyl. I told the judge, I said, listen, you might say that I saved myself, but you actually saved my life. Because had you not put me in that jail, I would not be here. And I honestly think that, it's either I'm still going to be high or I'm going to be dead, and that's how I live right now. I live by that. That judge saved my life. Um, and so here I am today. I put them through hell in that program. I really did. I came in there fighting and kicking, cussing everybody out. Like, I put them through a lot. I had my moments where I was, arguing sometimes and against a lot, challenged them a lot, some talking about gray areas and all of that, but missing the IVR call. But then I finally walked in that courthouse with my cap and gown on, and they thought I was playing. I said, the day I graduate, I'm going to wear a pink cap and gown, and that's what I did. And then I graduated. And then the judge extended my probation for a year after I graduated. But she actually took me off probation on March 24th, 2 days before my birthday. So I'm blessed because of that, because me being committed to going to my meetings and doing everything that I said that I was going to do post graduation, is why she let me off early. And I'm here today um, to let people know, like, you can do this. If I can do it, so can you. And I met a lot of people that either I could identify with and they made it through it, or I met somebody who had a worse situation than me and they made it through it. Like, I've met people who lost their child the day they was on the meeting. I've lost my older brother while I was on the meeting. I get a phone call from my dad, and I still made it through clean. Yeah. So here I am today.
No, you're a testimony, and it's an honor for you to share so people can see the transparency of it. Going through the healing techniques of recovering off substance abuse, Can you give the audience a few examples on ways that if they're going through a substance abuse, something that may help them overcome the substance abuse? Because you resisted a lot. So it's the reason you gave in and finished that course. So maybe you can help the audience with that.
Pick up the phone and call somebody. Pray. Another thing that somebody taught me was start to put affirmations on your mirror. Um, and if you think about it, cut on TV and watch one of your shows, or watch a show that you're not used to watching. And that helped me a lot, you know. But mainly pick up the phone and call somebody. Like, they can't help you if you're actually doing it, but they can help you before you pick it up, you know, and just go get help, you know. I've gotten help several occasions, but I wouldn't take it because I actually didn't apply it. Um, but it's very important to reach out to people and let them know that you need help.
And I think one of the bigger issues for you for asking for help is just maybe not knowing, who it was safe to go to without feeling judgment.
Trust it.
So, with that being said, what now that you're looking back on things, I guess what kind of quality of person would you suggest that they tell? If they have to pick somebody to tell, what would who would you suggest that they go to? And I wouldn't say, you can't always say go to your mom because everybody ain't rocking with their mom like that. So what kind of characteristics should someone have, where you would feel comfortable to share that looking back on things?
Talking to somebody that you don't even know. I've made friends in the past 3 years, people that I don't even know from Adam and Eve, that live in other states. You'd be surprised with how someone can relate to your story and can be there for you. Um, that's what I highly suggest. Not somebody that actually knows everything about you, but it's very hard to trust somebody, you know. But it's not hard to actually call because the behavioral health centers, they do have substance abuse therapists there, and it's okay to get outside help. It really is. And that's what I still get outside help. You know, I still take medication for my anxiety and depression. You know, it's okay to call them and make an appointment to see somebody, but make sure you're comfortable with them. And you can actually feel the energies. You're talking to somebody and they actually making eye contact with you, and you should be able to feel their vibe, their energy when you are opening up with them, or before you open up with them, you should have the energy. Like I said, like, um, yes.
So, what are some of the strategies that helped you with your anxiety and depression? Some secrets also that you can help folks with. Because I know a lot of folks struggle with that piece of it,
Mhm.
of overcoming that addiction piece of it. So,
Listen to music, meditation music. Like I was saying, the affirmations on the mirror, or just put it on your desk. If you work from home, put it on your desk. You know, something that you can look at. Go in the mirror and look at the affirmations when in the morning when you're brushing your teeth. Hot tea, the lavender, chamomile tea. Taking a walk. Walks actually work. Um, don't one Another thing that I struggle with is SAD, which is sadness. I can't even say it right now. Seasoned affective disorder. And one thing you can do is make sure that you have a lot of light in your house, because it can bring your levels down to where your mind will just be racing a lot. So make sure you have like a lot of light in your house. Um, but mainly, I what I do when my mind is racing, I start binge watching so I can have my mind focused on the TV, or I'll pick up the phone and call somebody.
That's good. That's good advice. What do you wish, or what should, and I want to know for myself as well. Um, for somebody that's just kind of like oblivious as to what's going on, and maybe that you were kind of still like yearning for somebody to notice, or somebody to, reach out and maybe figure out what's going on. What should the normal person maybe notice, and differences about somebody going through substance abuse, where maybe they do feel like, maybe they should check in a little more or follow up a little bit more, or were there like particular things that, like, do you feel like you could just talk to me if that I should have noticed, or maybe I didn't notice that, where you were really honestly screaming for help, and somebody just that didn't know what was going on didn't know. What are those type of signs and things that people should look out for?
Me saying that because my whole go to was I gotta work,
Right, you
and
have always about 4 jobs.
always gotta work. That was one of them. Another one, if someone stops calling, messaging, um, those are the main things. And I call that being incomplacent. Especially if I have friends that I'm talking to, like some almost every single day, and then just stop calling, or stop reaching out. Um, that would be one of the main things, or to say I'm doing fine. Doing fine is not really giving a real answer on how you're really doing. Um, those are my main things.
Oh, and what's this current status on the relationship with your kids? Like, how is that going? With rebuilding everything.
So my oldest son, he's in the Navy. My 17-year-old daughter, she's actually in Percival right now. We're okay. Um, we have that mother-daughter bond. Um, but my other kids, like, really good. We're really close. Now, as far as my daughter that put up for adoption, I have gotten a letter last year regarding the parents that adopted her had given her back to the adoption agency last year, and they were trying to find her family, which is up here. And I told them that, because they kept telling me, I didn't know who they were talking about, first of all, when they sent me the letter, because they changed her name. Um, so I told them that I wanted to get her. I didn't want to have anybody else take her, and I told them everything that happened, and they appreciated it. But when they tried to send her up here, Virginia denied it. And I was just like, you know what? She's gonna turn 18 in 3 years anyway, so I'm not even gonna, try to cause any more harm to her. It hurts, because my kids want to see her, but my youngest ones don't know about her, but my oldest do. Um, in which my oldest has asked about her a couple times last year. He was a little curious about what was going on. My oldest daughter has been trying to find her. She's been looking all over the social media for her. You know, um, but yeah, so that's a lost cause unless somebody from my family get her. But I don't know what's going on with that status there. Um, I just know that the people who had her could not take care of her anymore because of her behavior. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah.
So how do you feel? I mean, you're doing so much work as well. You're reaching out to women for women to reach out to you to, chat with you to go through the advocacy. I mean, how are you now? Like how are you?
I'm doing okay. um, I feel a lot better. Like I'm not as lightheaded as I was before. I'm taking a lot, and I became teachable and open. I'm able to take constructive criticism now without retaliation or getting upset. Like Sid knows, I never was able to take anything in. And that's not who I am today. I had to learn to just sit the up down and shut the F up, basically. You know, but yeah, so it's things are a lot better than what they were before. I know how to budget now. When it comes to when I get paid, I don't just go out and be like, hey, I'm gonna go buy this, I'm gonna go buy that. I got my dog here who, like brings me up all the time. Um, I just registered for college, so for the fall, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and pursue my career. I told them in drug court that I want to be someone who has my own pit bull rescue, and that's what I'm gonna pursue. That's what I want to do. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Like I have a lot of people in recovery who I talk to on a daily basis. Um, I work from home full time. I really enjoy it. Sometimes I have my days where I'm like, I'm lazy. I don't want to do nothing. I walk the dog and then I come back in the house. Um, but everything is going good. It's a lot better than what it was before. As long as I have the relationship with my family, my immediate family, that's all that matters. And then my boyfriend, that's all that, really matters, and the relationship with God, because at first I used to hate him too, because a lot of stuff that was happening. And I know that he doesn't make any mistakes. That's why I'm still here, So that's how I look at it now.
Well, you definitely are doing good, regardless of whether what was going on, um, or what I didn't know. The only thing, really ever noticed was like instability. And the fact that you said that, you've been in the same place since 2019, like that's amazing because, you done bounced around a lot. Um, and fought to have your own for a long time, would lose stuff, and soon as you get it or something gets shaken up in the process. So to know that you've been holding it down that long, and even before you actually came into recovery, that's so good, just knowing what you've been through, and what you had to go through. I mean, being able to only having stuff able just to fit in trash bags and be able to get in, get out quick, like literally, like you were living that. So that's just beautiful to hear that you can set up shop somewhere and just be comfortable somewhere, because it never was that way for you, like ever, from what it seems
No,
like.
living on somebody else's couch or in one of their kids' bedrooms, like I can't do that anymore. Like I can't. I gotta have my own. There's nothing better than having your own. Like I've been put out by people. Trash bags sitting outside, money stolen from me. Like all of that.
That's the
I
way.
remember I was around for a lot of that,
Yeah.
a lot of the way people treated you, and and now I'm kind of, I understand what was going on, but I still didn't. I never really thought it was right. Because if you agree to let somebody do something, then you know what I'm saying. You know what come with it, and
Hmm.
to just to have somebody out here like that is just, I hated that so much. So I would always do what I could, in that regard. But it's good to see you just
Mhm.
stable. Like I know that's always what you wanted, and somewhere for all, your kids can find you, your kids can come visit. Um, it's you're just not worried about what's going on, what's going to happen the next day, and that's amazing for you, because it's always you just always been shaking and moving.
Mhm.
Yeah, I live for today now. I can't think about tomorrow or yesterday. I just have to live for at the moment, like what's going on right now. Just let things happen.
Mhm.
That's what's more important.
I love it. I love it.
So at this point, we are almost, well, pretty much at our hour. Now we call this shameless plug. So you see your tags going down, or by at the bottom. You can just let the viewers know how they can contact you. What type of things you might be able to assist with, or whether they just need an ear or some techniques as to how to get through what they're going through, how they can contact you, and what you might have going on. You might got some new endeavors going on. You are trying to start pit bull rescue, so if anybody has any resources for that, um, please provide your information and let the viewers know how to reach you.
So my Facebook is Marquita Marles, Marquita, last name Marles. You can just add me. My email address is intelligent. You spell out one, which is ONE, and then the number 83 at gmail.com. And my Instagram is underscore Ms. Pink. MZPINK. Just add me and follow me. I'm here to vent. If you need any resources, I don't care if it's not in Virginia. I'll be happy to look anything up. I know where a lot of churches are. If you need anything, just reach out. Don't be hurt to talk to anybody if you're going through anything. Please reach out. Even if it's not me. Reach out to somebody. Yeah, you can just find me there. I don't sell anything or anything like that. Or if anybody has any insight for me as far as how to go about opening my dog rescue, I'm open to take any insights on that as well.
Pit bulls are the most lovable. We all have pit bulls on here. That's the thing. All three of us have pit bulls. Yeah, I gotta put mine's is assy though. So Spanish acid. So yeah. And Sid has a pit too.
Huh?
Sid has a pit
too. Yeah.
Mine literally looked like the female version of her dog.
Oh,
literally that fawn gray color.
Huh?
That fawn gray color.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Something else, man. He wanted to go outside, but I was like, nope, you're gonna come in the room with me and you're gonna sit down until I'm finished. And then now he's just laying down.
Girl, I had to lock mine in the room somewhere with her father.
So if anyone has pit bull rescue that can give Marquita any information, please reach out to her. And then for all the women that need to talk, DM her directly. She'll share her number with you. We didn't put it up here because it's strict for women. If you have any issues that you need to vent to talk to Marquita, please DM her. Send her your number. She'll send you her number as well. And if you need her contact number, you can reach out to Sid or I, and we can provide that information to you as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Marquita, we want to thank you for coming on Unfiltered Unspoken. Your testimony is powerful. I hope that more folks come out just like you to share your life experience, especially going through substance abuse, because there are a lot of folks going through substance abuse and they don't even know which direction to turn to. So it's thank you for being very transparent and some of the flaws that happen in between, and your healing piece of it is powerful. 3 years clean, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 years clean. So if Marquita can do it, you can do it too. So don't you ever give up. Know that you can fight substance abuse. Thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Unspoken. We're going to continue to share life experiences. And for all my folks that are going through substance abuse, please, especially my women, don't be afraid to reach out to Marquita. We are going to continue to share life experiences across the board. This is our cause. This is our mission. And if you would like to support our cause and mission, you can do so through our website at thegoodfight.com or Cash App, The Good Fight, Cash App, The Good Fight. There's an E on the end of good. Sid and I are going to continue to bring it to you. So you make sure that you tune in. We have a lot more to share, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.